Welcome to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska on Big Cabbage Radio.
Hello, everybody. This is Ken Hoffman, the host of Ag Matters. I'm a farmer out here in Palmer. I own a small business called Matsu Microgreens, and I'm also the executive director of the Matsu chapter of the Alaska Farm Bureau. If anyone out there is curious about the agricultural community, learning about farming in Alaska, please reach out to me at matsufarmbureau@gmail.com, or you could visit our website at alaskafb.org. So today is special. We have somebody in the studio today, my good friend Carol Kenley. She came in today, and she's going to talk to us about her farming. So could you start us off with about your farm and what you're doing this summer?
Okay, I am Carol Kenley. I was born and raised right here in the Matanuska Valley. My father was a dairy farmer, Clyde Oberg, and my mom and dad had Fishhook Dairy for many years, and they retired from farming, and I came back, have a place right on their old farm, and I do a little bit of vegetables. Well, I should say I have done vegetables. Then I tried to quit that and did peony farming for several years, and now I'm back to vegetables because my grandkids have decided that they want to have a roadside stand. So I do enough vegetables for them to sell at their roadside stand on Fishhook Road.
Great. When does the stand open up?
Actually, it's really iffy. It's when they don't have camps, when they're home. But today, actually, Tuesday, they're going to be open today for the first time this season. They'll be open from 4 to 6.
Okay, what day of the week is it normally on? Is there a particular day of the week? And also, how can people hear about it on Facebook?
Okay, you can watch my Facebook page, or Alaska Palmer Buzz has it. And like I said, it's really up to when they're not busy in soccer games or something else. So they pick and choose, and they put out their sign and open their stand with what we've got.
There you go. All righty. So Carol is also the president of the Matsu chapter. So I work for her. Since I'm the executive director. And so Carol, what is our big plan for this summer for Alaska Grown?
Well, the Matsu Farm Bureau is stepping up and trying to push marketing of Alaska Grown in the grocery stores this summer. We feel like the markets are doing great with Alaska Grown. Of course, that's what is sold at the markets. But a lot of the stores have not been featuring Alaska Grown, or at least highlighting it as much as they have in the past. And so we are going to have a campaign to try to highlight the stores that are highlighting Alaska Grown. We're going to try to push business to those stores who are supporting Alaskan farmers.
Yeah, for sure. New this year, we're sort of taking it over. Normally, Division of Ag takes over the Alaska Grown marketing, but they're going to allow us to purchase some of the retail kits, and we're going to set them up in some of the grocery stores for them. So that would be great. Are there any other summer plans that we're planning that you could think of? I know we're doing a lot of marketing. We're going to be at the State Fair. Do you want to talk a little bit about the State Fair?
Yes, we will be at the State Fair. You can find our booth where we sell Alaska Grown T-shirts. We sell our Dirt Line T-shirts that are exclusively products of the Matsu Farm Bureau. You may have seen them around. They're in what we call our dirt colors. They're Farm It, Grow It Bigger, Grow It Sweeter, and Growing Giants is one of our dirt lines.
That's true.
As well, and Growing Giants like our giant cabbages, which we also sponsor the Max Sherrod Junior Cabbage Weigh Off at the fair. And that's always an exciting event. Last year we had more participants in the junior weigh-off than we've ever had, and many more participants in the junior category than in the senior.
All right. Well, tell me a little bit about the giant cabbage, because I know that you've competed a couple times in the competition. And so how many years have you been doing it, and what are some of the secrets? Have you ever won? What's the largest cabbage?
I have never won. I'm not a real competitor. However, I was second place one time. That was pretty exciting. My second place cabbage was 70 pounds. That was really cool. However, when I say I'm not really a competitor, the first place cabbage was 95 pounds that year. So, I was 20 pounds off the mark. But it's a whole lot of fun. There are the stands are full of people there. It's in the big arena in the Farm Exhibits building, and the crowd is excited. We have great moderators that hype up the crowd, and it is always a very exciting event and fun competition between competitors, I must say. It's a wonderful event. I've been doing it for about 14 years now, and I have pretty cabbages, but they're just not one of the giants.
Yeah, and I understand you also teach a workshop for kids sometimes in the spring.
Yes, or I teach it, or I grow the cabbages for them, and the kids. It's a 4-H club. The Winner's Circle 4-H club comes, and this year they planted about 38 cabbages. Some of those are my grandkids, and my big goal in raising the cabbages is to always raise a bigger one than my grandkids. So they all know they're in competition. We jibe each other all summer long about whose cabbage is going to win.
All righty. So do you have a few secrets that you're willing to share about giant cabbages? Do you grow them in a greenhouse? Is there any little secrets?
I start them in the greenhouse, but I like to have them in the ground by, the 25th of May. This year it was more like the 5th of June because of the wind. I protect them a little bit with some plastic from the wind, but I don't really have any secrets. I dig a hole, try to put some nutrients in there, some chemical fertilizer, some compost, and then I water them. And that's the only thing I do. I know and it's not a secret, but it's people who get hybrid seeds between cabbages that are growing these wonderful giants that'll bring in 130-pound cabbage.
Yeah. All right. Well, tell me a little bit more about Farm Bureau. How long have you been a part of Farm Bureau? And what do you think some of the benefits are for farmers to join Farm Bureau?
Well, I've been a member of the Farm Bureau for about 20 years. Arthur Keyes, friend and fellow farmer, pulled me in when he needed some help, and I joined and have been an active member ever since. And I want to put a caveat on this. My farming is very small scale. If we had to live off of what I made, we'd be in a one-room cabin. Fortunately, my husband has a good job, and that makes it so I can afford to farm. But the farmers are welcoming and have taught me so much. So the Farm Bureau is for everyone interested in agriculture. If you don't have a farm, you can be an associate member. If you are farming, just going small time to a small market, you are welcome to join. And the best benefit is meeting with other people who are farming. I find farmers, when you asked if there was a secret, I don't know. I've never seen farmers that are keeping secrets about how they're growing stuff. So also there's some benefits. We bought a piece of equipment from Craig Taylor a couple years ago, and we got a $500 discount because we were Farm Bureau members. So that paid for our membership for several years.
For sure. I know some of the other benefits that I take advantage of is Granger. You can get free shipping on anything from Granger. I know they have a lot of large pieces of equipment that you can purchase, sometimes even ship it up for free. So there's great benefits to being a Farm Bureau member for sure. So do you want to tell us a little bit about your market garden? We do have some gardening nerds that listen in on this podcast. So it'd be fun to listen about your vegetable growing practices. How much land were you growing? And then how did you start market gardening? Because you said your parents were dairy farmers.
Right.
Clearly aren't doing dairy right now. You got into vegetables, and why is that?
Well, my mother always had a nice big vegetable garden, and so when we moved onto the property, I had this lovely field that had used to be where the cows were, and I established a garden there. And when my daughter Amy was about 12 years old, she was very enterprising, and she had decided to grow vegetables a couple years before, and she sold them at the side of the road. And then she got tired of having leftover vegetables at the end of the day, and she heard about CSAs, although we just called it subscription farming. And so she asked if she could sell some CSAs, and she made herself some little flyers and took them around to a neighborhood. And she had 4 people that subscribed to her vegetables for the summer. And I happened to be helping my sons at a Cub Scout camp the first week that she had to put together her baskets. So she put together her baskets, made it really cute, had cute baskets that the vegetables went in. And when I got home from camp, we delivered the 4 baskets. Next day I went to Cub Scout camp. I came home and she said, "Mom, I have 11 customers now from word of mouth from those 4 that she delivered." And I said, "Stop, the garden isn't that big." So from then on, we were on a roll. By the time Amy graduated from high school, she had capped out at 33 customers because that's as much work as she could do. She and her friend, she hired her best friend, and they farmed all summer. And me and my mother were also unpaid employees of Amy's. It was Amy's Alaskan Vegetables. When she left for school, my younger sons decided they wanted to do that. So they did it on a little smaller scale, but they soon found that they hated weeding. and that's the biggest part. So they didn't do it, but my youngest daughter, Rachel, did, and she started doing it. We worked up to that many again, and we were getting close to 40, and it was very difficult to make sure we had 40 cauliflower at a time or enough broccoli at the same time. And so we just transitioned to markets because whatever was on, we could sell, and we found we could sell out every week of what we could grow. And so we transitioned to the markets. It was a good system, and when Amy left, I just took over her business, so I guess I inherited my children's business.
Excellent. So the subscription model, were you getting paid, was Amy getting paid like upfront, or was it per week she was getting paid from the customer?
She got paid up front. We actually would take payments twice, at the beginning and then in the middle. We'd stretch it out like that, and so they got whatever was on in the garden, and she just ran it that way. And it was pretty light the first harvests, and it was very heavy by fall. They were getting it worked out to be a very, very good deal. And we were delivering to people's homes. That took a day to deliver, so there was a lot of labor involved. But it was wonderful to take a really good product. Oh, and one other thing they always did was include a little vase of flowers. And so that stroked my passion because I love growing flowers.
Okay, well, that's a great transition into the flower operation, your guys' peonies. So you inherited your children's business, and then you got into peonies. So how did that happen?
Well, my daughter Amy, the same one that started us on the subscription business, she moved into my parents' home and bought that, and then built their own home right there. And she had heard about Alaskan peonies and said, "Mom, I think maybe we should do this." We looked into it and got our soil tested, and Jeff Schmink told us that if ever there was a place to grow peonies, soil to grow peonies, we had it. So we were off and running, and in 2013 we planted our first roots and started selling them in 2016, and just did wonderful for the next 5 years. And then something happened that winter of 23, and most of our peony roots died. And Amy asked me how committed I was to the project, and I told her at my age I wasn't committed to anything. So we decided to cut our losses. It was sad because we were able to sell every peony we grew.
Okay.
But we let the roots the roots that had survived, we let them recover, and then we sold roots the last 2 years.
So when you sold the peonies, were you selling them at markets, every single one of them, to the farmer's market?
No, we were very fortunate in that Fred Meyer took our peonies and distributed them throughout the state through Charlie's Produce. And then the last couple of years, Walmart added peonies to what they were selling because Walmart was very interested in selling Alaska-grown flowers. So we were thrilled, and they distributed them throughout their stores within the state too.
Okay, so would you say that these box stores teaming up with farmers is a good thing?
Absolutely. You can only go so far at the markets, but if you want to grow and grow a lot, you need these big stores. We really need them because the bulk of people are going to shop at grocery stores and box stores. And if they will buy Alaskan grown, farmers will grow Alaska grown for them. I look at it like we can't grow bananas. We can grow carrots and potatoes. And if people only bought potatoes and carrots that were grown in Alaska, farmers would grow enough. And we would have a supply constant. We would not have to worry about a truck not coming in. We would have all the potatoes and carrots we needed. So whenever you're buying, no matter what the difference in the price is, buy Alaska grown. It's supporting Alaskan workers. It's also better and so much fresher. My friend Arthur Keyes and I always like to say that the minute you pick something, it begins to rot. Yeah. That's what's happening. And so if you're buying something that is a week older or 2 weeks older that you're getting from the store, you're just buying food that has rotted more. Doesn't sound good, but all that food is in the process of decay.
Yep. So it's super important to go to the grocery store. And what do you tell folks, say they go to the grocery store and they don't see any Alaska-grown products? What should they even do?
Ask for it. Number one, ask for it. And these people, the produce managers, the managers, they will listen to you. They know for every one person that's asking for it, there are probably 100 that wanted it but didn't bother to ask. So make a point. Please ask for Alaska grown. If you want to support farmers, if you want to see farmland in this valley, you need to ask for Alaska grown everywhere. Even at Costco, ask for Alaska grown. And it's not just produce. Ask for Alaska grown milk. There's a dairy here, Plagerman's Dairy in Delta. If they had more demand, they would get more cows. We would see more Alaskan grown milk. And it's a wonderful milk. It is the only dairy in Alaska. So when I was growing up, at one time my dad said there were 72 dairies in the valley, or 72 dairy farms in the valley. And now we have one, and it's in Delta. So if we want to keep that dairy, we better buy that milk, and we need to demand as consumers that it be on the shelves. Right now, it's at Walmart and at Three Bears. And also you can find it at specialty stores like Bush's Bunches, Natural Pantry.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. And so please, ask your produce managers for Alaska grown. Carol and I, it's just us two, so we can't do all the work ourselves, unfortunately, trying to get on the produce managers. So if you guys could talk to them. We're also going to be doing a series of Facebook posts. If you guys would like them and share them, try to get them as viral as possible, that would be great. The box stores do see those Facebook posts, so please do your part and just help us out a little bit, and all the farmers appreciate it.
Yes, I know that our big potato farmer here in the valley, his sales were down significantly this last year. For the first year, he's going to be dumping potatoes because his sales were down because local became, one store's local is Northwest grown. That doesn't apply to Alaska. That may be fine if you're in Washington or Oregon to say Northwest is local, but Oregon, Washington is not local for Alaskans.
No, local means Alaska grown.
That's right. Our local is Alaska grown. So look for Alaska grown. Expect to see it at the store. If it's hard to find, ask and say, I wish you would label this Alaska grown for us.
For sure. So look for those banners. Look for Alaska grown this summer. And thank you so much, Carol, for coming on the show today. And thank you, everybody, for listening in to Ag Matters.
You've been listening to Ag Matters, covering positive agriculture stories from across Alaska. Ag Matters is a production of Radio Free Palmer, recorded at our studios in Palmer, Alaska. For more information about this program, email manager@radiofreepalmer.org.